Yublym, chapter 41. And in the 45th Yublym, in the second week, in the second year, Yehuda took for his firstborn the wife from the daughter of Aram, named Tamar. But he hated, and he did not lie with her, because his mother was of the daughters of Canaan, and he wished to take a wife of the clan of his mother. But Yehuda his father would not permit him. And this the firstborn of Yehuda, was wicked, and Yehuda slew him. And Yehuda said to Unan his brother, Go into your brother's wife, and perform the duty of a husband's brother to her, and raise up seed for your brother. And Unan knew that the seed would not be his brother's only, and he went into the house of his brother's wife, and spilled the seed on the ground, and he was wicked in the eyes of Yehuda, and he slew him. And Yehuda said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, Remain in your father's house as a widow till Shelah, my bond is grown, and I shall give you to him as a wife. And he grew up, but Bad-Sual, the wife of Yehuda, did not permit her bond Shelah to marry, and Bad-Sual, the wife of Yehuda, died in the 5th year of this week. And in the 6th year Yehuda went up to shear his sheep at Timnah. And they told Tamar, See, your father-in-law goes up to Timnah to shear his sheep. And she put off her widow's clothes, and put on a veil, and adorned herself, and sat in the gate bordering the way to Timnah. And as Yehuda was going along, he found her, and thought her to be a whore. And he said to her, Let me come in to you. And she said to him, Come in. And he went. And she said to him, Give me my hire. But he said to her, I have naught in my hand except the seal that is on my finger, and my cord, and my staff which is in my hand. And she said to him, Give them to me until you send me my hire. And he said to her, I shall send you a young goat. And he gave them to her, and she conceived by him. And Yehuda went to his sheep, and she went to her father's house. And Yehuda sent a young goat by the hand of his shepherd, an Adulamite, but he did not find her. And he asked the people of the place, saying, Where is the whore who is here? And they said to him, There is no whore here with us. And he returned and informed him, and said to him that he had not found her. I asked the people of the place, and they said to me, There is no whore here. And he said, Let her keep them, lest we become a cause of mockery. And when she had completed 3 months, she was revealed that she was with child. And they told Yehuda, saying, See, Tamar, your daughter-in-law, is with child by whoring. And Yehuda went to the house of her father, and said to her father and her brothers, Bring her out, and let them burn her, for she has wrought uncleanness in Israel. And it came to be, when they brought her out to burn her, that she sent to her father-in-law the seal, the cord, the staff, saying, Examine who are these, for by him I am with child. And Yehuda acknowledged and said, Tamar is more righteous than I am, therefore let not them burn her. And for that reason she was not given to Shelah, and he did not approach her again. And after that she bore 2 banim, Paratz and Zerah, in the 7th year of this week. And after that the 7 years of fruitfulness were accomplished, of which Yosef spoke to Pharaoh. And Yehuda acknowledged that the deed which he had done was evil, for he had lain with his daughter-in-law, and he reckoned it hateful in his eyes. And he acknowledged that he had transgressed and gone astray, for he had uncovered the skirt of his bond. And he began to lament and plead before Yahuwah because of his transgression. And we told him in a dream that it was forgiven him, because he pleaded earnestly and lamented, and did not commit it again. And he received forgiveness because he turned from his crime, and from his ignorance, for he transgressed greatly before our Elohim. And every one that does so, every one who lies with his mother-in-law, let them burn him with fire, that he may burn therein. For there is uncleanness and pollution upon them. Let fire let them, or with fire let them burn them. And you shall command the children of Israel that there is to be no uncleanness among them. For everyone who lies with his daughter-in-law or his mother-in-law has wrought uncleanness. Let them burn the male who is lain with her with fire, and also the female. And he shall turn away wrath and punishment from Yisrael. And to Yehuda we said that his two Banim had not lain with her. For this reason his seed was established for a second generation, and would not be rooted out. For in singleness of eye he had gone, and sought for punishment, namely, according to the right ruling of Abraham, which he had commanded his Banim. Yehuda had sought to burn her with fire. Chapter 42. And in the first year of the 3rd week of the 45th Yublym, scarcity of food began to come into the land, and the rain refused to be given to the Eretz, for none whatsoever fell. And the Eretz grew barren, but in the land of Mitzrayim there was food. For Yosef had gathered the seed of the land in the 7 years of plenty, and had preserved it. And the Mitzrites came to Yosef, that he might give them food. And he opened the storehouses where the grain was first of the first year was, and he sold it to the people of the land for gold. And Yaakov heard that there was food in Mitzrayim, and he sent his 10 Banim that they should obtain food for him in Mitzrayim. But he did not send Benjamin, and they arrived among those that went. And Yosef recognized them, but they did not recognize him. And he spoke to them, and questioned them. And he said to them, Are you not spies? And have you not come to search out the nakedness of the land? And he put them in prison. And after that he released them again, and detained Shimon alone, and sent off his 9 brothers. And he filled their sacks with grain, and he put their silver in their sacks, and they did not know. And he commanded them to bring their younger brother, for they had told him their father and their younger brother were living. And they went up from the land of Mitzrayim, and they came to the land of Canaan. And they told their father all that had befallen them, and how the master of the country had spoken roughly to them, and had seized Shimon till they should bring Benjamin. And Yaakov said, Have you bereaved me of my children? Yosef is no more, and Shimon is no more, and you shall take Benjamin away? Your wickedness has come upon me. And he said, My bond shall not go down with you, lest it be he falls sick. For their mother gave birth to 2 Banim, and one has perished, and this one also you shall take from me? If it came to be that he took a fever on the road, you would bring down my old age with sorrow to the grave. For he saw that their silver had been returned to every male in his sack, and for this reason he feared to send him. And scarcity of food increased and became severe in the land of Canaan, and in all lands except in the land of Mitzrayim. For much of the children of the Mitzrites had stored up their seed for food from the time when they saw Yosef gathering seed together, and putting it in storehouses, and preserving it for years of scarcity of food. And on this the people of Mitzrayim fed themselves during the first year of their scarcity of food. But when Israel saw that the scarcity of food was very severe in the land, and there was no deliverance, he said to his Banim, Go again, and obtain food for us, so that we do not die. And they said, We shall not go, unless our youngest brother goes with us. We shall not go. And Israel saw that if he did not send him with them, they should all perish by reason of scarcity of food. And Reuben said, Give him into my hand, and if I do not bring him back to you, slay my 2 Banim instead of his being. But he said to him, He shall not go with you. And Yehuda came near and said, Send him with me. If I do not bring him back to you, let me bear the blame before you all the days of my height. And he sent him with them in the 2nd year, the 1st week, on the 1st day of the month. And they came to the land of Mitzrayim, with all those who went, presents in their hands, fragrant gum, almonds, pine, nuts, pure honey. And they went and stood before Yusuf, and he saw Benjamin, his brother, and he recognized him, and said to them, Is this your youngest brother? And they said to him, It is he. And he said, Yahweh show favor to you, my bond. And he sent him into his house, and he brought out Shimun to them, and he made a feast for them. And they presented him the gift which they had brought in their hands. And they ate before him, and he gave them all a portion. But the portion of Benjamin was 7 times larger than that of any of theirs. And they ate and drank and arose and remained with their donkeys. And Yusuf devised a plan whereby he might learn their thoughts as to whether thoughts of peace prevailed among them. And he said to one who was over his house, Fill all their sacks with food, return their silver to them in their sacks, and my cup. Put the silver out of which I drink, put it in the sack of the youngest, and send them away. Chapter 43. And he did as Yusuf had told him, and filled all their sacks for them with food, and put their silver back in their sacks, and put the cup in Benjamin's sack. And early in the Bakar they departed, and it came to be that when they had gone from there, Yusuf said to one over his house, Pursue them, run, and seize them, saying, You have repaid me evil for good. You have stolen from me the silver cup out of which my master drinks. And bring back to me their youngest brother, and fetch him quickly before I go out to my seat of judgment. And he ran after them, and said to them according to these words. And they said to him, Elohim forbid that your servants should do this matter, to steal from the house of your master any utensil, and also the silver which we found in our sacks the first time we your servants brought back to the land of Canaan. Why then should we steal any utensil? See here, we are and our sacks. Search, and wherever you find the cup and the sack of any male among us, let him be slain, and we and our donkeys shall serve your master. But he said to them, Not so. The male with whom I find, him only shall I take as servant, and you shall return in peace to your house. And as he was searching in the sacks, beginning with the oldest and ending with the youngest, it was found in Benjamin's sack. And they tore their garments, and loaded their donkeys, and returned to the city, and came to the house of Yusuf. And they all bowed themselves on their faces to the ground before him. And Yusuf said to them, You have done evil. And they said, What shall we say, and how shall we defend ourselves? Our master has discovered the transgression of his servants. See, we are the servants of our master, and our donkeys also. And Yusuf said to them, I too fear Yahweh. As for you, go to your homes, and let your brother be my servant, for you have done evil. Do you not know that a male delights in his cup, as I this cup, and yet you have stolen it from me? And Yahudah said, O my master, let your servant please speak a word in my master's ear. Your servant's mother bore 2 brothers to our father. One went away and was lost, and has not been found, and he alone is left of his mother. And your servant, our father, loves him, and his height also is bound up with the height of his. And it shall come to be, when we go to your servant, our father, and the lad is not with us, that he shall die, and we shall bring down our father with sorrow to the grave. Now rather let me, your servant, remain instead of the boy as a servant to my master, and let the lad go for his brothers, or with his brothers. For I became surety for him at the hand of your servant our father. And if I do not bring him back, your servant shall bear the blame to our father forever. And Yusuf saw that they were all in good accord, one with another, and he could not refrain himself, and he told them that he was Yusuf. And he spoke with them in the Abri tongue. and fell on their neck and wept. And they did not know him, but they began to weep. And he said to them, Do not weep over me, but hurry and bring my father to me. And you see that it is my mouth that speaks, and the eyes of my brother Benjamin see. For look, this is the 2nd year of scarcity of food, and there is still 5 years without harvest, or fruit, or trees, or plowing. Come down quickly, you and your households, so that you do not perish through the scarcity of food. And do not be grieved for your possessions, for Yahweh has sent me before you to put matters in order that much people might live. And tell my father that I am still alive. And you, look, you see that Yahweh has made me as a father to Pharaoh, and ruler over his house, and over the land of Mitzrayim. And tell my father of all my esteem, and all the riches and esteem that Yahweh has given me. And by the command of his mouth of Pharaoh, he gave them chariots and provisions for the way, and he gave them all long coats and silver. And to their father he sent garments, silver, 10 donkeys, which they carried grain, and sent them away. And they went up and told their father that Yusuf was alive, and was measuring out grain to all the nations of the Eretz, and that he was ruler over all the land of Mitzrayim. And their father did not believe it, for he was beside himself in his mind. But when he saw the wagons which Yusuf had sent for the height of his rook revived, and he said, It is enough for me if Yusuf lives. I shall go down and see him before I die. Chapter 44. And Yisrael took his journey from Haran, from his house, on the new year of the 3rd month, and he went on the way of Baal Shabam, and he offered an offering to the Elohim of his father Yitzchak on the 7th of this month. And Yaakov remembered the dream that he had seen at Baal, and he feared to go down to Mitzrayim. And while he was thinking of sending word to Yusuf to come to him, and that he would not go down, he remained there 7 days. If it came to be, he should see a vision as to whether he should remain or go down. And he celebrated the harvest festival of first fruits with old grain. For in all the land of Canaan there was not a handful of seed. For scarcity of food was all over the beasts and cattle and birds, and also over male. And on the 16th Yahweh appeared to him and said to him, Yaakov, Yaakov. And he said, Here I am. And he said to him, I am the Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham and Yitzchak. Do not fear to go down into Mitzrayim, for there I shall make you a great nation. I shall go down with you, and I shall bring you up in this land. You shall be buried. And Yusuf shall put his hands upon your eyes. Do not fear, and go down into Mitzrayim. And his Banim rose up, and his Banim's Banim, and they placed their father and their possessions upon wagons. And Yisrael rose up from Baal Shabam on the 16th of this 3rd month, and he went to the land of Mitzrayim. And Yisrael sent Yehudah before him to his bond Yusuf to search out the land of Gushan, for Yusuf had told his brothers that they should come and dwell there, that they might be near to him. And this was the choicest land of Mitzrayim, and near to him for all, and also for the cattle. And these are the names of the Banim of Yaakov, who went into Mitzrayim with Yaakov their father. Rauban, the firstborn of Israel. And these are the names of his Banim: Chanuk, Palu, Hatzrun, Carmi. 5. Shimun and his Banim, and these are the names of his Banim: Yamual, Yamin, Uhad, Yakin, and Zuhar, and Shaul, the bond of the Zapathite female. 7. Louis and his Banim, and these are the names of the Banim: Gershun, Kahath, Marari. 4. Yehudah and his Banim, and these are the names of his Banim: Shalah, Paratz, and Zerah. 4. Yissachar and his Banim, and these are the names of his Banim: Tula, and Pu'ua, Yashub, and Shimron. Vav. Zabulon and his Banim. These are the names of his Banim: Zarad, Alun, Ya'la'al. 4. These are the Banim of Yaakub and their Banim, whom Leah bore to Yaakub, and Aram Naharaim. 6. And their one sister, Dinah, and all their beings of the Banims of Leah, and their Banims who went with Yaakub, their father, and the Mitzrayim were 29, and Yaakub their father being with them were 30. And the Banim of Zilpah, Leah's female servant, the wife of Yaakub, whom she bore unto Yaakub, Gad, Ashar. These are the names of their Banim who went with him into Mitzrayim: the Banim of Gad, Ziphion, Hagi, Shuni, Atzbun, Ari, and Arali, and Arudi. 8. The Banim of Ashar, Yimna, Yeshua, Yeshui, Bariah, and Sarah, their one sister. 6. All the beings were 14, and those of Leah were 44. And the Banim of Rahal, the wife of Yaakub, Yusef, and Benjamin. And these were born to Yusef in Mitzrayim, before his father came into Mitzrayim, those from Asnath, daughter of Putipar, Kuhan of Un, born to him, and Manasseh, and Ephraim. 3. And the Banim of Benjamin, Bala, Bakar, Ashbal, Gara, Naaman, Ahi, Rush, Mupim, Hupim, Ard. 11. And all the beings of Rahal were 14. And the Banim of Bilhah, the female servant of Rahal, the wife of Yaakub, whom she bore to Yaakub, were Dan and Naphtali. And these are the names of their Banim who went with them into Mitzrayim. And the Banim of Dan were Hushim, Samun, Asudim, Iyakah, and Salumun. 6. And they died the year in which they entered into Mitzrayim, and there was left to Dan Hushim alone. And these are the names of the Banim of Naphtali: Yatziel, Guni, Yatzar, Shalum, and Iu. And Iu, who was born after the years of the scarcity of food, died in Mitzrayim. And all the beings of Rahal were 26. And all the beings of Yaakub which went into Mitzrayim were 70 beings. These are his children and his children's children, and all 70, but 5 died in Mitzrayim before Yusef had no children. And in the land of Canaan 2 Banim of Yehudah died, Ar and Onan, and they had no children, and the children of Israel burned those who perished, and they were reckoned among the 70 Gentile nations. Chapter 45. And Israel went into the country of Mitzrayim, into the land of Gushan, on the new Yerach of the 4th month, in the 2nd year of the 3rd week of the 45th Yubal. And Yusef went to meet his father, Yaakub, in the land of Gushan, and he fell on his father's neck and wept. And Israel said to Yusef, Now let me die, since I have seen you, and now may Yahuwah Alim of Israel be Baruch, the Alim of Abraham, the Alim of Yitzchak, who has not withheld his kindness and his favor from his servant Yaakub. It is enough for me that I have seen your face while I am still alive. Also the vision is true which I saw at Baal. Baruch be Yahuwah, my Alim, forever and ever, and Baruch be his name. And Yusef and his brothers ate bread before their father and drank wine, and Yaakov rejoiced with exceedingly great joy because he saw Yosef eating with his brothers and drinking before him. And he baraked the Creator of all matters, who had preserved him, and had preserved him for his 12 banim. And Yosef had given as a gift to his father and to his brothers the right of dwelling in the land of Goshen and in Ramses and all the region around about, which he ruled over before Pharaoh. And Yisrael and his banim dwelt in the land of Goshen, the best part of the land of Mitzrayim. And Yisrael was 130 years old when he came into Mitzrayim. And Yosef provided his father and his brothers and also their possessions with bread, as much as they required for the 7 years of scarcity of food. And the land of Mitzrayim suffered by reason of scarcity of food, and Yosef acquired all the land of Mitzrayim for Pharaoh, in return for food. And he got possession of the people and the cattle, and all for Pharaoh. And the years of the scarcity of food were accomplished, and Yosef gave to the people and the land seed and food that they might sow in the 8th year. For the river had overflowed all the land of Mitzrayim, for in 7 years scarcity of food it had not overflowed, and had watered only a few places on the banks of the river. But now it overflowed, and the Mitzrites sowed the land, and it bore much grain that year. And this was that first year of the 4th week of the 45th Yublym. And Yosef took a grain of the harvest of the 5th part of the sovereign, and left 4 parts for them for food, and for seed. And Yosef made it a law for the land of Mitzrayim until this day. And Yisrael lived in the land of Mitzrayim 17 years, and all the days which he lived were 3 Yublym, 147 years, and he died in the 4th year of the 5th week of the 45th Yublym. And Yisrael barak his banim before he died, and told them all that would befall them in the land of Mitzrayim, and he made known to them what would come upon them in the last days, and baraked them, and gave to Yosef 2 portions in the land, and he slept with his fathers. And he was buried in the cave of Machpelah, in the land of Canaan, near Abraham his father, in the grave which he had dug for himself in the cave of Machpelah, and the land of Habron. And he gave all his books and the books of his fathers to Louis his bond, that he might preserve them and renew them for his children until this day. Chapter 46. And it came to be after that Yaakov died, and the children of Israel multiplied in the land of Mitzrayim, and they became great in a great nation, and they were of one accord in heart, so that the brother loved brother, and every male assisted his brother. And they increased abundantly and multiplied exceedingly 10 weeks of years, all the days of the height of Yosef. And there was no adversary, nor any evil all the days of the height of Yosef, which he lived after his father Yaakov. For all the Mitzrites honored the children of Israel all the days of the height of Yosef. And Yosef died, being 110 years old. He lived 17 years in the land of Canaan, and 10 years he was a servant, and 3 years in prison. 80 years he was under the sovereign, ruling all the land of Mitzrayim. He died, and all his brothers, and all that generation, and he commanded the children of Israel before he died, that they should carry his bones with them when they went out from the land of Mitzrayim. And he made them swear regarding his bones, for he knew that the Mitzrites would not again take and bury him in the land of Canaan. For Machmaran, sovereign of Canaan, while dwelling in the land of Ashur, fought in the valley with the sovereign of Mitzrayim, and slew him there, and pursued after the Mitzrites to the gates of Armun. But he was not able to enter, for another, a new sovereign, had become sovereign over Mitzrayim, and he was stronger than he. and he returned to the land of Canaan. And the gates of Mitzrayim were closed, and none went in or out, and none came into Mitzrayim. And Yosef died in the 46th Yubal, in the 6th week, in the 2nd year, and they buried him in the land of Mitzrayim. And his brothers died after him. And the sovereign of Mitzrayim went out to battle with the sovereign of Canaan in the 47th Yubal, in the 2nd week, in the 2nd year. And the children of Israel brought out all the bones of the children of Yaakov, except the bones of Yosef. And they buried them in the field in the cave of Machpelah in the mountain. And the majority returned to Mitzrayim, but a few of them remained in the mountains of Hebron. And Aram, your father, remained with them. And the sovereign of the Canaan was victorious over the sovereign of Mitzrayim, and he closed the gates of Mitzrayim, and he devised an evil plan against the children of Israel of afflicting them. And he said to the people of Mitzrayim, See, the people of the children of Israel have increased and multiplied more than we. Come, let us deal wisely with them before they become too much, and let us afflict them with slavery before battle comes upon us, and before they also fight against us. Maybe they shall join themselves with our enemies and go up out of our land, for their hearts and faces are towards the land of Canaan. And he appointed over them slave masters to afflict them with slavery, and they built strong cities for Pharaoh, Pithom, and Ramses, and they built all the walls and all the fortifications which had fallen in the cities of Mitzrayim, and they had made them serve with harshness. And the more they dealt evilly with them, the more they increased and multiplied. And the people of Mitzrayim loathed the children of Israel. Chapter 47. And in the 7th week, in the 7th year, in the 47th Yubal, your father went out from the land of Canaan, and you were born in the 4th week, in the 6th year, in the 48th Yubal. This was the time of tribulation on the children of Israel. And Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim, issued a command regarding them, that they should throw all their male children which were born into the river. And for 7 months they threw them in, until the day that you were born. And your mother hid you for 3 months, and they informed regarding her. But she made an ark for you, and covered it with a pitch of asphalt, and placed it in the reeds on the bank of the river. And she placed you in it 7 days, and your mother came by night and nursed you, and by day Miriam, your sister, guarded you from the birds. And in those days Tharmuth, the daughter of Pharaoh, came to bathe in the river, and she heard your voice crying, and she told her female servants to bring you out, and they brought you to her, and she took you out of the ark, and she had compassion on you. And your sister said to her, Shall I go and call you one of the Abri females to nurse and suckle this infant for you? And she said, Go. And she went and called your mother, Jochebed, and she gave her wages, and she nursed you. And afterward, when you were grown up, they brought you to the daughter of Pharaoh, and you became her bond, and Aram, your father, taught you writing. And after you had completed 3 weeks, and they brought you into the royal courtyard, you were 3 weeks of years at court, until the time when you came out from the royal court, and saw a Mitzrite smiting your friend, who was of the children of Israel, and you slew him and hid him in the sand. And on the 2nd day you found 2 of the children of Israel striving together, and you said to him who was doing the wrong, Why do you smite your brother? And he was wroth and displeased, and said, Who made you a prince and a judge over us? Do you think to kill me as you killed the Mitzrite yesterday? And you feared and fled on account of these words. Chapter 48. And in the 6th year of the 3rd week of the 49th Yubal, you departed and dwelt in the land of Midian 5 weeks and 1 year. And you returned to Mitzrayim in the 2nd week in the 2nd year, in the 50th Yubal. And you yourself know what he spoke to you on Mount Sinai, and what Prince Matsama desired to do with you when you were returning to Mitzrayim. On the way, when you met him at a lodging place, did he not with all his power seek to slay you and deliver the Mitzrites out of your hand when you saw that you were sent to execute right ruling and vengeance on the Mitzrites? And I delivered you out of his hands. And you performed the signs and wonders which you were sent to perform in Mitzrayim against Pharaoh, and against all his house, and against all his servants and his people. And Yahuwah executed a great vengeance on them for Israel's sake, and smote them through blood, and frogs, and gnats, and dog flies, and evil bulls breaking out in sores, and their cattle by death, and their hailstones. By these he destroyed all that grew for them, and by locusts which devoured the remnant which he had been left by the hail, and by darkness, and of the firstborn of males and beasts, and on all their idols. Yahuwah took vengeance and burned them with fire. And all was sent through your hand that you should declare these words before they were done. And you spoke with the sovereign of Mitzrayim with the sovereign of Mitzrayim, before all his servants and before his people. And all took place according to your words. 10 great and terrible judgments came on the land of Mitzrayim, that you might execute vengeance on it for Yisrael. And Yahuwah did all for Yisrael's sake, and according to his covenant which he had ordained with Abraham, that he would take vengeance on them as he had brought them by force into bondage. And the prince of Matstama stood up against you, and sought to cast you into the hands of Pharaoh, and to assist the Mitzrayim magicians. And they stood up and wrought before you the evils. Indeed, we permitted them to work, but the remedies we did not allow to be wrought by their hands. And Yahuwah smote them with evil swords, and they were not able to stand, for we destroyed them so that they could not perform a single sign. But despite all signs and wonders, the prince of Mastama was not put to shame, because he strengthened himself and cried to the Mitzrites to pursue after you with all the powers of the Mitzrites, with their chariots, their horses, with all the hosts of the people of Mitzrayim. And I stood between the Mitzrites and Yisrael, and we delivered Yisrael out of his hand, and out of the hand of his people, and Yahuwah brought them through the midst of the sea, as if it was dry land. And all the peoples whom he brought to pursue after Yisrael, Yahuwah our Elohim, threw them in the midst of the sea, into the depths of the abyss, beneath the children of Yisrael. Even as the people of Mitzrayim had thrown their children into the river, he took vengeance on 1,000,000 of them, and 1,000 strong and energetic males were destroyed on account of the nursing child of the children of your people, which they had thrown into the river. And on the 14th day of the 15th, and the 16th, and the 17th, and on the 18th, the prince of Mastama was bound and imprisoned behind the children of Israel, that he might not accuse them. And on the 19th we let them loose, that they might assist the Mitzrites and pursue the children of Israel. And he hardened their hearts and made them stubborn. And the plan was devised by Yahuwah our Elohim, that he might smite the Mitzrites and cast them into the sea. And on the 14th we bound him, that he might not accuse the children of Israel. On the day when they asked the Mitzrites for goods and garments, objects of silver and objects of gold, objects of bronze, in order to plunder the Mitzrites in return for the bondage in which they had forced them to serve. And we did not lead out the children of Israel from Mitzrayim empty-handed. Remember the covenant which Yahuwah had commanded you concerning the Pasach, that you should celebrate it in its season. Chapter 49. Remember the command which Yahuwah commanded you concerning the Pasach, that you should celebrate it in its season, on the 14th of the first month, that you should kill it before it is evening, and that they should eat it by night and the evening, by the time of the going down of the greater light. For on this night the beginning of the festival and the beginning of the joy. You were eating the Pesach in Mitzrayim, when all the powers of Mastama had been let loose to slay all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, from the firstborn of Pharaoh to the firstborn of the captive female servant in the mill, and to the cattle. And this is the sign which Yahuwah gave them into every house on the lintels of which they saw the blood of the lamb of the first year. They should not enter into that house to slay, but should pass by all, or that all those should be saved that were in the house, because of the sign of the blood was on the lintels. And the powers of Yahuwah did all accordingly as Yahuwah commanded them. And they passed over all the children of Israel, and the plague did not come upon them to destroy from among them any being, either cattle, or male, or dog. And the plague was very grievous in Mitzrayim, and there was no house in Mitzrayim where there was not one dead, and weeping and lamenting. And all Israel were eating the flesh of the Pesach lamb, and drinking the wine, and were praising in barakah, and giving thanks to Yahuwah Elohim of their fathers, and were ready to go out from under the yoke of Mitzrayim, and from the evil bondage. And remember this day all the days of your high, and observe it from year to year all the days of your high, once a year on its day, according to all the law thereof. And do not turn away from day to day, or from month to month, for it is an everlasting law, and engraved on the tablets of the Shamayim regarding all the children of Israel, that they should observe it, and every year on its day, once a year throughout all their generations. And there is no limit of days, for this is ordained forever. And the male who is free from uncleanness, and does not come to observe it on occasion of its day, so as to bring an acceptable offering before Yahuwah, and to eat and to drink before Yahuwah on the day of its festival, that male who is clean and clothes and at hand shall be cut off, because he did not offer the offering of Yahuwah in its appointed time. His guilt is upon him. Let the children of Israel come and observe the Pesach on the day of its appointed time, on the 14th day of the first month, between the evenings, from the third part of the day to the third part of the night. For 2 portions of the day are given to the light, and a third part to the evening. This is that which Yahuwah commanded you, that you should observe it between evenings. And it is not permissible to slay it during any period of the light, but during the period bordering on the evening. And let them eat it at the time of the evening until the third part of the night. And whatsoever is left over, and all of its flesh from the third part of the night and onwards, let them burn it with fire. And they shall not boil it with water, nor shall they eat it raw, but roast it on the fire. They shall eat it with diligence. Its head with its inward parts, and its legs they shall roast with the fire, and not break any of the bones. For of the children of Israel no bone shall be crushed. For this reason Yahuwah commanded the children of Israel to observe the Pesach on the day of its fixed time, and they shall not break its bone, for it is a festival day, a day commanded. And there may be no passing over from day to day, from month to month, but on the day of its festival let it be observed. And you shall command the children of Israel to observe the Pesach throughout their days, every year, once a year, on the day of its fixed time. And it shall become a memorial, good pleasing before Yahuwah. And no plague shall come upon them to slay or to smite in that year, in which they celebrate the Pesach, and its season, in every respect according to his command. And they shall not eat it outside of the Mikdash of Yahuwah, but before the Mikdash of Yahuwah, and to all the people of the congregation of Israel shall celebrate it in its appointed season. And every male who is come upon its day shall eat it in the Mikdash of your Elohim before Yahuwah, from 20 years old and upward, For so it is written and ordained that they should eat it in the Mikdash of Yahuwah. And when the children of Israel come into the land which they are to possess, into the land of Canaan, and put up the Mishkan of Yahuwah in the midst of the land in 1 year of their tribes, until the Mikdash of Yahuwah has been built in the land, let them come and celebrate the Pesach in the midst of the Mishkan of Yahuwah, and let them slaughter it before Yahuwah from year to year. And in the days when the house has been built, in the name of Yahuwah, in the land of their inheritance, they shall go there and slaughter the Pesach in the evening at the greater light going down, and the third part of the day. And they shall offer its blood on the threshold of the altar, and shall place its fat on the fire which is upon the altar, and they shall eat its flesh roasted with fire in the court of the house which has been kadush in the name of Yahuwah. And they may not celebrate the Pesach in their cities, nor in any place, except before the Mishkan of Yahuwah. For before his house, where his name is dwelt, they shall not go astray from Yahuwah. And you, Musha, shall command the children of Israel to observe the laws of the Pesach, as it was commanded to you. You declare to them every year the festival of Matzot, that they should eat unleavened bread 7 days, and that they should observe its festival, and that they should bring an offering every day during those 7 days of joy before Yahuwah on the altar of your Elohim. For you celebrated this festival with haste when you went out from Mitzrayim till you entered into the wilderness of Shur, for on the shore of the sea you completed it. Chapter 50. And after this law I made known to you the days of the Shabbatut in the wilderness of Zin, which is between Alim and Sinai, and I told you of the Shabbatut of the land of Mount Sinai, and I told you of the Yubal of years in the Shabbatut of years. But in the year thereof I have not told you till you enter into the land which you are to possess, and the land also shall keep its Shabbatut while they dwell upon it, and they shall know the Yubal year. Therefore I have ordained for you the yearly Shabbatut, and the years and the Yublym. There are 49 Yublym from the days of Adam until this day, and 1 week and 2 years, and there are still 40 years to come for learning the commands of Yahuwah, until they pass over into the land of Canaan, crossing the Yarden to the west. And the Yublym shall pass by until Israel is cleansed from all guilt of whoring, and uncleanness, and defilement of crime, and straying, and dwell with confidence in all the land, and there shall be no longer an adversary or any evil one, and the land shall be clean from that time forever. And see, the command regarding the Shabbatut I have written down for you, and all the right rulings of its laws. 6 days you shall labor, but on the 7th day is the Shabbat of Yahuwah, your Elohim. And it you shall do no matter of work, you and your banim, and your male or servants, and your female servants, and all your cattle, and the sojourner also, who is with you. And the male that does any work on it shall die. Whoever profanes that day, whoever lies with his wife, or whoever says he shall do whatever on it, that he shall depart on a journey thereon, in regard to any buying or selling, and whoever draws water thereon, which he had not prepared for himself on the 6th day, and whoever takes up any burden to carry it out of his tent or out of his house shall die. And you shall do no work whatever on the Shabbat day, except what you have prepared for yourselves on the 6th day, so as to eat, to drink, to rest, and to guard Shabbat from all work on that day, to Barak Yahuwah your Elohim, who has given you a day of a festival, and a Kadush day, and a day of the Kadush reign for all Israel is this day among their days forever. For great is the honor which Yahuwah has given to Israel, that they should eat and drink and be satisfied on this festival day, and rest thereon from all labor which belongs to the labor of the children of males, except burning frankincense and bringing offerings and slaughterings before Yahuwah for days and for Shabbatot. This work alone shall be done, the Shabbat days and the Mikdash of Yahuwah your Elohim, that they may atone for Yisrael with offering continually from day to day for a memorial pleasing before Yahuwah, and that he may receive them always from day to day according as you have been commanded. And every male who does any work thereon, or goes a journey, or tills his field, whether in his house or on any other place, and whoever lights a fire, or rides on a beast, or travels by ship on the sea, or whoever smites or kills whatever, or slaughters a beast or a bird, or whoever catches an animal or a bird or a fish, or whoever fasts or goes into battle on the Shabbat, the male who does any of these matters on the Shabbat shall die, so that the children of Israel shall observe the Shabbat according to the commands regarding to the Shabbat of the land, as it is written in my tablets, which he gave into my hands, that I should write out for you the laws of the seasons, and the seasons according to the division of their days. Thus is completed the account of the division of days. End of chapter 50, the book of Yublym.